A foggy morning in 1754. Deep within the forests of the Ohio Valley, a surprise attack ordered by a young British officer would ignite a chain of events that dragged the world into war, from the wilderness of North America to the courts of Europe and even the battlefields of India. This was not just a fight over borders, it was a brutal struggle that would decide the destiny of an entire continent for centuries to come. Would North America belong to the French or to the British? Part 1. Clash of Empires and the Lure of the Ohio Valley. In the mid-18th century, North America was a vast chessboard of imperial ambition. On one side stood the British Empire, controlling the 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast. On the other stood France, whose claims stretched from Canada in the north all the way down the Mississippi River basin. Between these two empires lay a priceless prize, the Ohio River Valley. Why was this region so important? First, the land was extremely fertile. Second, it was the heart of the lucrative fur trade. In Europe, fur hats were symbols of wealth and status, and the profits from this trade were enormous. Both the British and the French were desperate to control this economic lifeline. When the French began constructing forts across the Ohio Valley, alarm bells rang in the British colonies. Virginia's governor, Robert Dinwiddie, saw this as a direct invasion of British territory. To confront the French, he chose a tall, ambitious 21-year-old officer, George Washington. Part 2. A fatal misstep and the spark of war. The year was 1754. Washington was sent to warn the French to withdraw, but events spiraled out of control. At a place called Jumonville Glen, Washington's troops, alongside Native American allies, launched a surprise attack on a French detachment. A French diplomat was killed during the skirmish, triggering a serious international crisis. Knowing retaliation was inevitable, Washington hastily built a crude fort named Fort Necessity. But under relentless rain, French forces and their native allies overwhelmed the position. Washington was forced to surrender. Remarkably, this was the only surrender of George Washington's life. This minor clash soon exploded into a global conflict, the French and Indian War, known in Europe as the 7 Years' War. The war earned its name because the British fought against the French and their Native American allies. But it is crucial to understand, Native Americans were not united under one side. Allies of the French. Tribes such as the Algonquin, Huron, and Ottawa supported France. The reason was simple. The French were primarily traders, not settlers. They respected native land, married into tribes, and showed greater cultural sensitivity. Allies of the British. The powerful Iroquois Confederacy eventually sided with Britain. Though initially neutral, they feared French dominance more than British expansion. For Native Americans, this was a war of survival. They were masters of forest warfare, using ambush and guerrilla tactics that terrified British redcoat soldiers trained for open field combat. In 1755, Britain sent General Edward Braddock to crush the French resistance. Braddock was a veteran of European warfare, believing discipline and formation guaranteed victory. But the American wilderness was a different kind of battlefield. Marching with nearly 2,000 troops toward Fort Duquesne, Braddock's army was ambushed near the Monongahela River. French and native warriors fired from behind trees, invisible and deadly. British soldiers stood exposed, firing blindly. Braddock was mortally wounded and later died. the army collapsed in chaos. Amid the disaster, George Washington showed extraordinary courage, rallying survivors and leading a desperate retreat. For the next 2 years, the French dominated the war, capturing British forts one after another. By 1757, Britain seemed on the brink of losing North America. Then came a turning point in London. William Pitt took control of the war effort and changed everything. Pitt understood that victory required massive investment. He poured money into the army, promoted young and aggressive generals, and promised colonial governments that Britain would cover the costs of war. The Royal Navy tightened its grip on the seas, cutting off French reinforcements and supplies. Slowly, the tide turned. The British captured Louisbourg, Fort Duquesne, renamed Pittsburgh, and Fort Niagara. French defenses began to crumble. The year 1759 became known as Annus Mirabilis, the Year of Miracles. The decisive battle took place at Quebec, the heart of French power in North America. Perched atop cliffs along the St. Lawrence River, the city seemed impregnable. British General James Wolfe devised a daring plan. Under cover of night, British troops climbed the steep cliffs and formed ranks on the Plains of Abraham. At dawn, French General Louis-Joseph de Montcalm was stunned to find the enemy at his doorstep. The battle was short, only 15 to 20 minutes, but devastating. The British emerged victorious. Tragically, both Wolfe and Montcalm were mortally wounded and died on the battlefield. With the fall of Quebec, French rule in North America was effectively finished. In 1763, the Treaty of Paris reshaped the world map. France surrendered nearly all its North American territories. Canada and all lands east of the Mississippi River went to Britain. Lands west of the Mississippi, including New Orleans, were transferred to Spain. France ceased to exist as a colonial power in North America. Britain emerged as the world's most powerful empire, but victory carried a hidden cost. The war drained Britain's treasury. To recover, Parliament decided that the American colonies should pay for their own defense. New taxes followed: the Sugar Act, Stamp Act, and others. Colonists protested fiercely. No taxation without representation. With France gone, the colonies no longer needed British protection. They wanted to expand westward, but the British Crown blocked them to avoid new wars with native tribes. Resentment grew. The same George Washington who had once fought for Britain would, 2 decades later, lead a rebellion against it. The French and Indian War had laid the foundation for the American Revolution. Conclusion: lessons from history. The French and Indian War teaches us how a small frontier clash can ignite a global catastrophe. It was a brutal rehearsal for modern warfare, where strategy, deception, and sacrifice collided. The America we know today was born in the forests of the Ohio Valley in 1754. Friends, what do you think? If the French had won, would Americans today speak French instead of English? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications for more thrilling stories from history. See you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.